All right, guys, welcome to CC Nation News. We have some news to go over. First, let's start with the weather. So currently, in New Albany, Indiana, which is where I live, 66 degrees, and it's cloudy. Let's go into some of our other news stories. Russia is invading Ukraine. More than 300 civilians have been killed during this military plot. Now, I don't know why Russia is invading Ukraine, but apparently this has been going on for 8 years. But Russia has interest in, it's called the Crimean Peninsula. Ukraine, it's a nutrient-rich country, and Russia wants their nutrients and minerals. The United Nations, they're investigating this. The international court system, they're investigating this for possible crimes against humanity. The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights released its numbers for civilian casualties in Ukraine, though the real figure may be higher. More than 1 million refugees have crossed into neighboring countries. Businesses are pulling out of Russian products. Social media, they're banning their websites in Russia, which I'm not really against that. Businesses and the citizens, they're not the enemy here. It's Putin. You know, we might not like Putin, but we can't just judge the citizens based because of what Putin is doing. You know, I think we should support Russian businesses. Yes, we should also support Ukraine, but you know, we need to support both sides here. There were two sides to every story. I'm not going to judge who's the bad guy or who's the good guy until we get to the bottom of this. And to me, there doesn't really need to be some type of military coup going on. Russia and Ukraine just need to sit down and have peace talks. What does Ukraine want? What does Russia want? And negotiate. I think they're doing that right now, ceasefire talks, but you know, don't need to go to war. But I guess going to war might be easier than talking to the enemy. I don't know. Move on to the next story. An Amtrak engineer was acquitted in a 2015 derailment that killed 8 people after the train was going over 100 miles per hour in a 50 miles per hour zone. This past Friday, a jury cleared Amtrak engineer Brandon Bastian of involuntary manslaughter and reckless endangerment. I kind of remember this story back in 2015. I was like, why is this guy traveling 100 miles per hour? Was he drunk? Was he tired? I don't know. According to his story, his defense was that he was distracted by radio signals alerting him of possible trespassers that were throwing rocks, which kind of makes sense. The train tracks is where a bunch of juveniles and hoodlums and gangs hang out, doing drug deals, graffiti, vandalism, throwing rocks. Some people like to walk, and some people just like to walk on train tracks. You know, where do train tracks lead? Where do they go? You know, I kind of want to hop on a train and see where it will take me. You know, it's trespassing. But the jury acquitted him. There wasn't really a crime, it was just an accident. And you know, what evidence do they really have here? There's no surveillance footage. It's at night. You don't really have a lot of witnesses that were surveying the engineer part of the cabin. Might have had some people in the back describing their injuries, but what evidence do they have here to make this guy a manslaughter? Manslaughter is where you show like intent and with racial intent to kill somebody or disregard for someone's life. I don't think the engineer had that in him. It was just an accident. At least that's what the jury thought. I'm surprised it took the guy to trial. Go on to the next story over here. The Supreme Court reimposes the Boston bomber Johar Tsarnaev's death sentence. In a 6-3 decision, the Supreme Court agreed with the Biden administration's arguments that a federal appeals court was wrong to throw out the death sentence. The Supreme Court reversed the Circuit Court of Appeals decision. They believed that Tsarnaev had a fair trial, in which the appeals court believed he did not. The appeals court, they also faulted the judge for not sufficiently questioning jurors about their exposure to extensive news coverage. But the Supreme Court overturned that decision as well. The appeals court, they also thought that Tsarnaev was influenced by his brother. That was also overturned by the Supreme Court. Justice Clarence Thomas wrote for the majority that made up of the court's 6 consecutive justices. The Sixth Amendment guarantees someone for a fair trial, which Tsarnaev had. My thoughts on this: I think capital punishment and life imprisonment without parole should be abolished. No one should be in prison for the rest of their life. Everyone should have an opportunity to get out. Now, if they squander those opportunities and you are in jail for the rest of your life, then that's different. Death penalty should also be abolished for these reasons. 1, it doesn't deter crime. 2, it's more expensive than life imprisonment. And 3, the government looks like hypocrites. They are punishing someone who killed people by killing. What makes the government different from the Boston bomber? They're both killers. There's no good, there's no bad. There's no right, there's no wrong. No one should have the right to kill. Not private citizens, especially not the government. Give him life imprisonment with possibility of parole and give him a chance to rehabilitate himself. Maybe he's changed in the past 10 years. We don't know if we're going to throw him in jail and lock him, throw him in jail and throw away the key. So I hope Biden pardons this guy. I really do. I do not want to see him die. Now again, what he did, it was tragic. I hate seeing people getting killed. But that doesn't mean I'm going to root for the convicted murderer to be killed as well. I believe everybody can change. That's if they want to change. Now, if he doesn't want to change, sure, he should be in prison for the rest of his life. But it's up to him. He killed 4 people. All right, so he possesses 4 souls. What do you want him to do with those souls? Keep them in jail for the rest of his life? Want those souls to go to the chamber? Or do you want him to do something about it? Make a difference. Oh well. Leave your all's comments in the chat. Next story. The ex-officer Brett Hankinson, who raided Breonna Taylor's apartment, found not guilty of wanton endangerment in a deadly raid. This is kind of my home, right here in my hometown. Former Louisville police officer has been found not guilty of recklessly endangering neighbors during the chaotic nighttime raid that led to the death of Breonna Taylor. Brett Hankinson fired 10 shots during the incident, which took place during a no-knock warrant. In court, Mr. Hankinson maintained he did nothing wrong during the melee. Hankinson was the only officer charged in the case. The prosecution, they tried to cast doubts on his version of events, but the jury didn't buy it and they acquitted him. Brown Taylor's death was, along with other two black people's death, George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery. My thoughts on this case. I think the jury made the right decision to acquit him. Yes, because what evidence do you have here? Prove wanton endangerment. You have to prove that the people in the apartment were in danger. Kenneth Walker, Brown Taylor's boyfriend, fired shots at the police. The police have the right to fire shots back. It's just a complete tragic accident. I don't blame the individual officer. I blame the department as a whole. Who signed off on the search warrant? When you do a search warrant, you should know everybody who's in the building. You should know the people who aren't in the building. You should know what you're searching for, as what the Fourth Amendment states. Obviously, there's exceptions and loopholes, but you gotta know what you're searching for and who's in the building that you are searching. But what evidence do they have here to convict Brett Hankinson? There's no body cam. There's no witnesses. You're basically going off of his word. When I watched his testimony, when I saw his testimony, I knew he was being acquitted. All right, there are juror profiles in court. You're not supposed to cater to a juror profiles, but attorneys doing it anyway. They will convict you on these things. Physical evidence, evidence they can touch and smell. Emotional witness testimony, like someone breaks down crying that someone did something to them. There you go. DNA evidence, absolutely 100% they will convict you on that. Juries believe that DNA evidence is the end-all be-all when it comes to evidence. Well, if your DNA was on the object, you apparently did the crime. They will also acquit you or give you a less sentence if convicted if you're one of these people. An attractive female. Attractive females will serve a less sentence than a man who gets convicted. Caucasians. You're black, you have more of a chance of getting convicted than a Caucasian male. Monetary status. You come into court, you're rich, you're wearing a nice suit, they'll most likely acquit you or give you a less sentence than someone who's coming in wearing a jumpsuit. Last but not least, a professional, such as a doctor or a teacher, or especially here, a police officer. You'll most likely be acquitted or serve a less sentence. And this shows in these past cases. Look at Roy Oliver, look at Derek Chauvin, look at Kim Porter, now look at Hankinson. They're all cops. Hankinson was acquitted. The others were convicted. They're serving less than 25 years in prison. Why? Because they're cops. Juries are reluctant to convict cops. They believe cops are good guys. They don't want to see cops in jail. That's why they're reluctant to impose harsher sentences. Hankinson was convicted because he was a cop trying to do his job. He made a mistake. The jury thought he didn't do a crime here. And I kind of agree. Breonna Taylor's death is not amongst Arbery and George Floyd. Ahmaud Arbery was hunted down by 3 people who should not be out on the streets. Floyd was suffocated to death by a cop who had no care for human life. I don't think this was the case here with Breonna Taylor. So Hankinson's acquitted. I hope he gets his job back, learns from his mistakes, maybe proposes some changes in the system. But this has been your CCNATION news for March the 6th. I will see you next time.